Welcome to another edition of the Dental Today podcast. Thank you for stopping by. This is brought to you by labmediatv. My name is Hezekiah Morales, and here we go. Remember to follow us on social media at labmediatv. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us once again on another episode of the Dental Today podcast. We will be sitting down today with a gentleman that has over 30 years of experience. He is a member, over 17 years member of the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry, which for those years he has been on the board of directors. He has been reelected again, and we're very excited to have him with us. He's going to share a lot of information on his background, what he's been up to, a little bit of the philosophy that drives his success. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Mr. Quint Whipple. Mr. Whip, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
What an amazing blessing to have you on here. I had conversations with our good friend Dane Barlow about you, and we did message a little bit on Facebook, but we hadn't had the opportunity to actually sit down and talk a little bit. I really want to thank you for sitting down here with us on this podcast. And I want to get into, as usual, I like to get into the background and what brought you to this place where you're at now. 30 years of experience, over 30 years, started in 88. Can you give us a little bit on that background?
88. I graduated high school at that time. That was like forever ago. I'm like an old fogey now. Yeah, I started in 88. I paint and I draw and do things. So I had my orthodontist, who was actually my neighbor. And at that time I was living in Provo, Utah. And he called me up and said, "Hey, look, I need someone that's going to come in. I got model work I need to have done for my orthodontic patient." So he called me up and said, are you willing to come in and work on it? So I would go in the middle of the night and I would do all of their study models for their patient. So they would take all their impressions, do everything during their day, and I would go in at night, and I'd work all night long, and they'd walk back in, everything would be ready and done for them.
Wow.
That was my first experience getting involved in it. Then I went and the following year I left to go on a LDS church mission to Portugal, and I came back in 91, and I got full-fledged into orthodontics for about 2 years. Realized, at least at that point, there was no real financial gain in that market. When you're selling Holly retainers for $27 a piece, there's not a whole lot of money making coming back to you. So I switched over to the dental. And so in 1993. So I started doing that and got involved with working at Gold Dust. I met some really good people. I met one of my mentor, I call Uwe Bersamli, who lectured and presented for Ivoclar for years. And I just kind of latched onto some of his ideas, some of his techniques, and his quality work, and went from there. And then eventually I moved over to, I had a job opportunity to go run a lab in Las Vegas. And I helped run Las Vegas Aesthetics for about 5.5 years in accordance with the Las Vegas Institute with Bill Dickerson, doing seating live patient courses, anywhere from composite to veneers to full mouth. Just incredible opportunity to work with doctors, patients, gaining insight on that. And then came back in 2003 and moved back to Phoenix. And grateful to be back in Phoenix. Vegas isn't the place for me to live. You know, I don't mind working there busy once in a while, but man, I need more culture than what's there. Nice. And so I love Phoenix. I love it. We have every sport here. We have every cultural aspect, and concerts galore, which I have a vice, and that's music. Music is one of my biggest vices of life. I guess that's not a bad vice to have.
Right.
But so you know, I love being in Phoenix. I started my lab in 2003 out of my house, and then I bought a facility 2005, and that's where I currently stand. So
that's awesome. And then not only did you start Venetian Dental Studio in 2003, you also were already publishing certain articles and everything all the way from 2002. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did a couple cases with past. Well, he's retired currently now, but Ron Jackson, who I admire tremendously. He was an incredible clinician. And not only he's an incredible clinician, he's actually a superior human being too. And I gained a lot of inspiration from him through through certain times that he's gone through, certain times I've gone through, with being accused of things that weren't true. And he'd gone through a couple things that were similar, and so I got some great advice from him. And so he did some articles in the LVI Visions, I believe it was called. I think it's Visions now. It may be called a little bit different then. But some work I had done in there went in the articles, and then I did a couple things for promos for like 3M and a few other odds in it. Well, I think that one was with Steve Poss out of Nashville, Tennessee. So yeah, there's a few things like that. I've got more in the works actually. Got a couple more I'm working on current 2 or 3 I'm working on right now. So
and then
busy.
Busy is certainly the word. I mean, I do see here that this year in Lab Day West, you did some work for GC, which obviously you're a key opinion leader for GC since 2017, correct?
Correct.
And I do see here you did some lectures for them there. You also did a table demo. That was all Lab Day West, correct?
That was Lab Day Chicago, yeah. And I also did it. I did a little working. I did Lab Day West a little bit too. I did a lecture at Lab Day West, and then I went on Saturday morning and did a table demo. So the table demo wasn't necessarily a table demo this time. It was more just working the booth for them. And I did a little bit of demonstrating, showing some things. So it was really good. A lot of fun. You know, it's a great group to work with. Phenomenal people.
GC, yeah, they're great people. I've had great experiences with GC.
Yeah.
But not only that, fast forward to a couple of days later, you were flying out to Germany, and you were doing some work in Germany. Tell us on your experience out there in IDS.
You know, it's great. You know, I've always wanted to go to IDS. It's kind of been one of my goals in life. You know, so bucket list items you have in your life, in your head, and you know, sometimes you don't write them down, right?
Right.
So I was like, I've got to do IDS. So I've met all these people through DTG, through Dental Technicians Guild, and through being a KOL through all my years, and I've connected with all these people through Facebook and Instagram, and they're like, "Dude, Quint, we got to see you." I was like, "You know what? I'm going to go to IDS this year." So I made the thing. I'm going to IDS. I made my flights, made my arrangements, and I actually took a vacation, which I hadn't done in 15 years.
Wow.
Anything over like 2.5 days, put it that way. So in the process, just prior to going, a good friend of mine, Sylvia, could not do her demo that afternoon on Thursday. And so they called me, "Hey, you're coming into town. Would you like to do a demo?" I'm like, "Oh, I'd be honored to do a demo for White Peaks." So I was able to do GC, ZRFS, their zirconia porcelain, and I did a White Peaks. Thus, the coin we will talk a little bit about later has their logo on it because it was at their booth, and they were supporting the damaged goods, or AKA DTG booth there. So it was a fabulous opportunity. IDS is crazy. If you think Chicago's nuts, I mean, IDS is on steroids. I mean, I went to 2 buildings alone only, of which there were 3 floors, of which 6 football field size each floor. I mean, it was crazy. But you know, it was so great. I mean, it's crazy. You're standing in the hallway and with the walkway, and all of a sudden you get tackled by some guy from Spain you've only met online. And he's like, "Whip, finally I get to meet you, man." You know, you turn around and you embrace the big massive hug. Goes, "I got to introduce you to my son." You know, and it is what an absolute pleasure to work with everybody there. I mean, Oliver from White Peaks is fabulous, and he had Sheila working with him, organizing stuff. And then Hayo Burkhart was there. He really organized, I think, every one of them, at least the majority of all their presenters. So it's fabulous opportunity, and to have the opportunity to demo at IDS. Yeah, hello. It was great. I mean, it was so much fun seeing everybody there. You know, the DTG, we had a big old dinner that evening, that Friday night. So, but yeah, I was crazy because I drove in from Amsterdam that Thursday morning and got there at noon because it was really rainy. And so I cut unfortunately I cut it really tight, but I got there at noon and my demo was at 1 o'clock.
Wow, that was pretty tight. Whoa.
Yeah, a little tight. That was tight. But it was, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Wouldn't trade it for the world. It was absolutely incredible.
That is awesome. It's interesting that you said that somebody would tackle you, with such high excitement and such high energy. But it's something that I've seen in this industry. Again, I'm new to this industry, right, but I've seen such camaraderie and such brotherhood and fellowship, within this industry. It's specifically amongst dental technician professionals. And it's so refreshing to see. It's so powerful. And particularly, I heard you say a second ago, I haven't been, because I had not been on a vacation for 15 years. For a lot of Americans, that's crazy. But for a dental technician professional, it's the norm.
It is, unfortunately, it is norm. And I say I've never taken a vacation. Anything over 2.5 days, where I would leave. Like, I took my daughter, she graduated from high school. I took her to Jamaica. I went on vacation, but I left Thursday morning. I flew home Sunday morning.
Of course.
That's not really that's a couple calendar days off. I took a weekend. That's not a true vacation. I have gotten away, I go to a place where no one can, my phone doesn't ring for my doctors. And that's what I've done. But to actually really go on a true vacation, that was my first one where I took literally 10 days, and I actually took a vacation and got off the bench for 10 days. That was the first one I've done since I started the office, more or less.
Wow. So it leads me to go into this topic that I always like to touch on every now and then with certain technicians that come on to the show that have a lot of time in this business. How do you keep the balance of sanity and excellence?
Yeah, that's a fine line to keep. And I think it takes a little bit, I think it's a mentality difference. I've got neighbors that have come down. A very good friend of mine came down to hang with me. He hadn't seen me in a week. Just sitting next to me at my desk, and he looks at me and goes, "How do you do this all day?" And it's a different mentality. I seem to think that dental technicians I think we're ADD in a lot of ways. And we're so deficit syndrome sometimes, and it takes a few of us that are actually, we're introverts, but yet there's a few of us that I'll go out and lecture and do stuff that are extroverts at the same time. And then I find that sometimes a bit difficult or different. So I think it's trying to get a balance of just working and being out in public, being with people. It takes a little bit different personality, but it's sometimes difficult. You sit for 10, 12 hours, literally, and you get up and you go catch a lecture, or you go see a client, you go do what you need to go do. But sometimes it's just, as my wife says, it'll be in my epitaph when I die, it had to ship. And so stuff's got to go. And so you just have to do it. And you go through, I think a lot of people say, you go through a wall where you're exhausted. And they just go, "Oh, I'm so tired. I got to hit that wall." And go, "Yeah, I hit that wall. I'm on my 4th wall today." So it's mentality. Trying to find that balance is tough. It really is. And sometimes I think it's more of a mental thing to stick with it than it is physical, because in all reality, I think dental technicians defy reality of sleep. I think lab techs are severely sleep deprived in a lot of ways. I've had clients ask me to fit work in at 3 a.m. for them, just so they go on vacation, so you find ways to get things done for your clients. You find ways to get things done that you need to financially support and what you need to do, and then you get away, go do some things. I love getting away on business. I get to sleep on business trips, and I get to hang with people I just love hanging with. So that's kind of my balance right there.
So you find your balance in connecting with like-minded individuals that are also going through the same things that you are, that are facing, or at the very least, very similar scenarios where you can feed off of each other. Let's not say the positivity, but let's just say the resolve to present excellence, not only to your client, which is the doctor, but in turn to change a life in the end, because I believe a dental professional, whether he's a doctor or a dental technician, is in the business of changing lives. Is that what I am hearing?
Oh, absolutely. I think the reason why I do it is exactly what you just said. It alters lives. And I was sitting in Stuttgart with a good friend of mine, Hayo Burkhardt, Hans-Johann Burkhardt. Well, and so, you know, we were discussing things. I'm sitting in his lab in Stuttgart, Germany, and here I am. I've never been over there, and I'm from a little small town in Gilbert, Arizona. I have my own lab of 5 people, and he has the exact same problems that I have. You know, and he goes through the same situations and modalities and different techniques and personnel delivery, personnel differences, doctors, how to handle them. We all seem to go through the same thing. And I think one of the connecting points is that there's a group of technicians now that I believe will have the desire to share. And this community wasn't as embracing as it currently is, I believe. But that embracement of, hey, I'll show you. What have you done? How has this supported you? What did you do in this situation? How did you solve this problem? And so I find a lot of camaraderie, and I find solace in some of the communal friends I've met. And so, you know, not having met certain people I met online, and then finally get to meet them in person, it's like, it's so warm. It's so awesome to meet people of like-mindedness. I love that. That's why I got involved with the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry for the same reasons. Same thing with the Dental Technicians Guild. It's hanging with people who have that like-minded of passion for what you do, and just how phenomenal it truly can be, satisfying to change someone's life. And you do change lives dramatically. I mean, you want to go off that? I'll tell you one quick story. I have a letter I've kept, and I can't do it word for word, but it's a letter I received from a patient I worked on probably about 17 years ago. And I did her upper 10 and lower 10 teeth. And right after she had, actually I think during having her teeth restored, she actually found out she had breast cancer. And she had to have a double radical mastectomy, which is having your muscle removed as well, which is just, it's a terrible procedure. And she wrote me a letter that I've kept in my back pocket, not physically, literally, but in my mind, it's always there. And I've stated it at some of my lectures, you know, that she wrote to me and says, I want to thank you for making me I know I'm still a beautiful woman. I can look in the mirror and smile every day. Thank you so much. And that's something that's always motivated me. So when I sit there at 1 a.m. and I'm working on a case, I'm like, gosh, I do not want to be here. And I think of that letter a lot. And that image of that woman looking in the mirror thinking, I've lost what most people consider the beauty of their body. And she's like, I know I'm a beautiful woman. Thank you for making so. And so it's a touching moment. A lot of times I'll shed a few tears when I give that story, but it's an emotional drive for me. And when you finally get to meet people or you do live patients, there's people behind the teeth you make, and it's affecting their lives dramatically. And so that part I truly love about doing what I do.
It's very interesting. I find that this conversation is very interesting because I find that unless the correct mindset is behind what we do, I believe what we do can turn into a mechanical process. However, when we really go into what a dental technician professional is doing is just that, changing lives. Now, we have to understand that a dental technician is, although they are working not directly with the patient, but their work ultimately highly impacts the health of this person.
Right.
And more so as physically, we're talking about mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and the way they interact with the world, the way they see themselves in the world. And I really find that the job, the responsibility of a dental technician professional is such an admirable job and a responsibility profession. And it's powerful. Those letters are not. How many letters have been have been left unwritten?
Oh yeah. Oh, you're exactly right. And there's nothing better than going and restoring someone's mouth and meeting them in the office and go, "Why are you getting this done?" And she says, "Well, I'm 6 years clean of meth and drugs. This is the gift my father gave me. I can straighten my teeth out and live my life again." Or I've been working on a patient that I'm going next Friday to. It's a Give Back Smile charitable event through AACD to a lady who's been physically and sexually abused by her ex-husband. And to give them a new leap, a new string on life, and to see in their eyes they cry and as their lives are uplifted. I don't know that you get a better result for what you do. I don't know if there's anything else that you can do that feels better, or as they say in the South, more better, right? But I mean, how incredible is that feeling when you see a doctor work on a patient for the first time and she starts crying, the doctor walks over to you and goes, "She's crying, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" It's like, you should get used to that. That is a great cry. You have changed that person. You did a great thing. Enjoy it, take pride in it, and relish in the moment of great success. And success is that patient having her life changed, have his life changed to the point they feel good about themselves, they can live their life better, get a better job, talk to people. I mean, some of these people won't even talk to people if they don't get their teeth restored. They won't even look at you. And so, yeah, I mean, you get to alter lives to a point that's just it's an incredible emotional experience sometimes. And I wish, like you said, how many letters were not written. You don't hear about all the results, but I have had some people walk back into my office and give me hugs and say thank you. So, you can't ask more than that.
It's wonderful how you said that even a new job, a new industry altogether, it alters the fabric of people's lives. And I didn't understand it until I spoke with a doctor from Panama. He's a doctor that travels back and forth. A great doctor. I'll probably have him here on the show, hopefully in the near future. He just actually came over here to South Florida. We met and we talked a little bit. He actually had to pick up a sensor. But one of the things that he told me when we first met was people's smiles are their business card.
Oh, truly agree with that.
And
absolutely.
When sometimes someone says something and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds cool, but it's not until you really begin to identify how much of an individual's mental health is connected to their image and the way they perceive the world sees them, that we realize how true this statement is. Our smile is our business card. How amazing. That's why I like when you said that.
I agree with that. I mean, they say the eyes are the windows of the soul. And you see, but when you see someone smile to where they're confident of who they are, it's an amazing thing. I'll never forget, I was working with, I still work with this doctor out of Houston, Texas. And I had never met his staff and his team, and they all came into town when I was living in Vegas and say, "Hey, we all want to take you out to dinner, and all the girls you made teeth for, they all want to meet you." Yeah. And I was a nervous wreck. I'm thinking, are they going to look good? Are they going to be like, you could have done this, or I wish you'd have done this, or my gosh, could you gone wider? I mean, these are too dark. I mean, I thought of every negative scenario that could have possibly occurred to me. And I walked in the door, sat down at the table, and everyone individually got up, gave me hugs, and said, "Thank you for making me smile bigger."
Wow.
And my heart just like, oh,
wow.
Relax. I can relax. And you look around the table, and their smiles are bigger, and that's what the lives you change. That's what you can do. And that's what you're grinding on something. You're trying to make it that much better. You're trying to make that much difference in how it looks, that the outcome is a result of hard labor on our end, but some of the people are very well deserving of what they're getting, what they need in their life. So it's great.
For sure. So shifting gears here, talk to me a little bit about your experience, your relationship with DTG, Dental Technicians Guild, and also known as Damaged Goods, correct? And tell me a little bit about this organization, this camaraderie, this fellowship.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it's working. I was sitting in one of my board meetings with a good friend of mine, and we were in, I think we were in Chicago at the time, and one of our board meetings, we're having a break, and this buddy of mine, Dwight, looks at me and goes, "Hey, dude, check this Damaged Goods stuff out." I'm like, what? Let me look at this. So I look at it, and it's basically a Facebook page group that's been started by Mr. Von Grow, who I don't have enough words of camaraderie and positive to say about him. He's just an incredible guy. And I look, and what it has is posters all over the world, technicians, and what they're doing and how they're doing it. Literally, this is how I do it. And so so I looked at it and said, some of the work is incredible. It's very different than what we can do in the U.S. I mean, we are very much driven, as you've seen, with very much bleach shade result cases that we have to do. We don't do a lot of regular natural colors in the States. And so I saw it, and so I connected with Von Grow. I said, "Dude, did you sneak in the middle of my night and take your thoughts out of my head, and put it on your piece of paper on the front page of your Facebook page?" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "You've read my mind, because what you've written here is exactly what I think." And so I went to the first meeting, and I think it was, I want to say it was 2014. They had a meeting up in Provo, Utah, and I think there was 50 of us there. And it just connected. And it connected in a way that the idea is that what you share, and you relish in the positiveness, you relish the creativeness that comes out of it, to enjoy the camaraderie of those that are doing the same thing you're doing, and they strive for the same like-minded concept of excellence, the beauty of above and beyond what's the mechanical, what you mentioned earlier, of the rote memory of, it's a tooth, grinded out, gray stain, glaze, kick it out the door. No, there's real meaning behind it, and that's what this group does. And so I got involved with their first meeting. I did miss a meeting in Frankfurt, Germany. I could not make it. I think where the discussion is one in Lebanon next year. But you walk in the room, and it's hugs from everywhere, from Brazil to Christchurch, New Zealand, to Kosovo, to Spain, to name it, North Korea, Japan, Italy. And so it becomes such a family unit. And so it's been a great thing for me to do. Damaged Goods is kind of like an affiliate group. And then you have what's called the Dental Technicians Guild, which currently I think we're 128 all over the world. And so I was asked to be a part of that, and I'm very honored to be a part of such a high quality and high character group of people, men and women. Incredible female. That's one thing. Women technicians are underutilized, underknowledged. They're not out there as much, but there are some incredible female technicians. So I've got to know a lot of them that way. And so that's a group I belong to, and unfortunately, the Damaged Goods is, I think there's like 2,100 or something like that, 20,000. I can't remember how many people are on there, Damaged Goods. But there's a lot of people on there that are, they want to be involved. They share their opportunities. They share what they do. And as dental DTG members, we go through and evaluate, encourage. I don't mean evaluate might be a wrong word. Other than just, hey, keep going. That's awesome. Or, hey, here's an idea you might want to use. But it's a way of camaraderie, showing people what we know, what they know. And there's some talented people, man. There's some seriously talented technicians out there. It's amazing. So I've been involved with that, and I just absolutely love being involved with it. And there's always a get together at Lab Day Chicago midwinter, and there's always a get together in IDS. So I jumped at it last year. It was great. So, but yeah, it's an amazing thing because, like we said earlier, the goals are the same. They're like-minded. They really want to make a difference in what they do, and they take that extra anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour to make sure it's what it should be to the best of their ability and their knowledge.
And it's interesting you said that there are a number of phenomenal technicians, female technicians, lady technicians, and we actually had one on our show, Ifet Lena from Philly.
Yes,
from Philly, yeah. And another amazing story, amazing talent. We're actually going to have another young lady. Her name is Vicky from Mexico City. We're going to have her here in the next couple of weeks as well.
Excellent.
And I believe that it's such a powerful tool to get people out there. When I mean a tool, is these groups to get people out there. And you sent me something via FedEx here, and let me put this here on the screen so that our followers that are possibly watching this on YouTube can see it, and those that aren't watching it on YouTube, you'll be able to see it on Facebook or Instagram, whatever it is. And this says, "Say no to." I don't even know if I should say this word because it's like
I'll go for it. It's my favorite.
It's like profanity within our groups, right?
Yeah, it is.
Say no to mediocrity, and this is powerful. Then it has another set of words. In what language is this?
Well, and on that one, it's in multiple languages. So I think that one is I have it in Greek, I have it in German and Portuguese, in Swedish, in Japanese, in Farsi. So it just means like some of them are family, artistry. I think that artistry is in Swedish. Grab my coin here. I don't remember exactly word for word, but I don't speak all those languages, unfortunately. But one of them is community. That's Japanese. Artisteri, which is Swedish for artistry. Oikogenia, that is family in Greek. And then Itatad, I can't remember exactly what that is, but that's Paixão is in Portuguese. And then one is Polish. And that's I can't remember exactly what the word means on that one. I totally forget. I apologize. But the idea behind that was to demonstrate that in the group, we come from all different backgrounds. And what I did is I posted that on our Facebook page, which is solely it's a private page to all of us members. And I said, what does DTG mean to you? And so it was family, it was friendship, it was beauty, it was artistry, it was togetherness, it was work, it was all these things, passion, drive. And I picked a few of friends of mine from Sweden, from Japan, from all over. I said, how do you say it in your language? And I put it on the coin.
Oh, wow.
And no one knew what was happening. And then everyone showed up at a meeting and I had them all printed out and I had them fabricate, go, here's your thing. Like, no way. That's what I said. Like, yeah, that's what you said. And say no to mediocrity is a saying that my good buddy Phil always says. He's out of England, and Phil Brady, and he's incredible tech. And so I asked if I could use that on the coin. He said, would you please? So I did.
You know, it's amazing because these types of groups, at the very least, with the philosophy that is driving this particular group, I believe it just hits it on the head. Iron sharpens iron, and I believe that's such a powerful concept to drive what we do in the motives behind our relationships. You know, to sharpen each other and to elevate our not only our professional level of understanding and of production, but also to elevate us as individuals. Because as we shared a little while ago, and it's the conversation that we have with a lot of the dental technicians, rather, that we have here on the show, is that, you know, it does become difficult oftentimes to go through the day by day that is full of many challenges that oftentimes, because of the wear and tear of the mind and the body and the soul, it weighs down on you. And these groups are so powerful. Let me go into this. So these groups are on Facebook. They're private groups that once you become part of the group, you can take advantage of this camaraderie. How does one become part of one of these groups?
If you want to get onto damaged goods, it's very simple. Just request to be on it. For the most part, you're going to be able to get on the page, and it's like many other pages. Just ask and request to be upon it, and you can get involved, and you can share, and you can look, and you can watch and see what goes on. It's a great venue just to you see what somebody else is doing, and you go back to your desk and going, does this compare or does this not compare? And what do I need to do to make it compare and look like this and see the results? And so that's pretty simple to gain access to that. I've become the DTG page. That's an invite from Vaughn, and that's his determination how he does that. So, but I'm grateful and blessed as can be to be friends with Vaughn and those that are on that page.
That's fantastic. And let's go to your responsibilities. I really like to ask these questions on the type of work that you do for the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. What are some of your responsibilities? What are some of the things that you are doing there? What's the plan for the rest of 2019, which is obviously we're in August almost towards.
Oh my gosh, crazy! Time flies so fast.
But what are the plans? What's going on there?
I got involved. I joined the academy like I noted before. I joined the academy in 2000. That's actually the same year I got my CDT, and so I got involved, but I really didn't do a ton. I went to a couple of meetings. Thought it was like, yeah, it's cool, man. You meet some cool people. I sat with the doctors. It was my drive to sit in with dentists and learn what they need to know. If I know what they need to know, it gave me an insight of what I needed to do to work with them. And so that's why I got involved with it. Like I said before, the like-mindedness, same mindset, creative mindset. I really enjoy that concept. So in 2013, I ran for the board of directors. And I was kind of shocked, but I got on. And it's been a great experience in learning how to run an organization. So as a board of directors, we actually are the governing board of the academy itself, making the financial decisions, getting involved in where we're going to go, where we're having our meetings, who's going to be speaking, who's not going to be speaking, how it runs financially, how to maintain the fiduciary responsibilities of the members' money. And that's been a lot of fun. I got involved a couple of years in being on what's called the PEC, which is the Professional Education Committee, and actually arranging those speaking. And I've met in that course, great friends in the process, obviously. And so currently, right now, we're working on getting everything ready for the Orlando meeting in April of next year. I believe it's the 23rd through the 27th, I believe, of April. Not exactly sure on the exact dates. But yeah, it's organizing stuff that's going on there, how to get it right, how to make sure that our vendors have what they need, how to get it for our members the best they need. We're working on getting videos and teaching stuff for our members so that they can access free CE online through the Academy. That's one of their benefits. So we're doing a lot of videos and courses online that are being done. In fact, I'm going to be recording one in October. So I'm a little nervous but excited at the same time to have that opportunity. But it's great for the membership to have that ability to gain CE online. You know, we have like we're doing right now, we're doing podcasts and YouTube, and the world has changed. And you have millennials that they go to meetings sometimes, but they go to the web all the time.
Oh, for
And
sure.
so it's rearranging, how our membership sees and seeks out CE. And so it's a fine balance, actually. Membership in many academies, including AAID, which is the Implant Dentistry Academy, or the ADA, and there's so many different acronyms for different dental communities. And it's hard to make sure that each meeting you have face to face has true value, that it's worth leaving their office, leaving their dental office, their tech, their lab, that they gain all that information they truly need. So that's kind of what we're involved in doing. And it's given me a lot of insight on how to run a business, on how to run a nonprofit organization. It's got me involved in doing a lot of charitable work, which I just absolutely love. Like I said, I've done cases next week. It's full upper and lower, all on fours for a patient, and that's through the AACD, through their Give Back a Smile program called GBAS. And we do it. They do a lot with giving back smiles to people who have been abused, beaten, and their lives are downtrodden. And see the change it makes in their life, it's great. So I love being involved in that as well. So it's a great opportunity, and you meet some phenomenal people, like I said, all over the world too. So it's great. It's fabulous.
I think that's one of the greatest advantages to these groups, whether it's the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry or any other, that you have the opportunity to speak to people that are outside of the United States, outside of your state, outside of your town, and you can hear different conversations and different challenges, or sometimes the same, but a different approach, a different mindset to a solution. And I think that's what, in the end, in turn, raises the standard and positively affects the patient on the other side. Because in the end, it's really, how can we improve these lives? And I think that's amazing. And what you're saying now, the whole process that you're going through, getting these events together, I'm sure you're meeting more people than you thought you
oh, geez.
than you thought you would.
Yeah. It's to say the least, you nailed it on the head. I mean, when I asked to volunteer, it's a volunteer program, and when I got on board, I went to my wife and said, I'm gonna have to figure out how to budget this into my system, because this is it's a volunteer system, and I set my flights apart, my money to do that, and then I get a phone call a month before I'm supposed to meet in Madison, Wisconsin for the first time, and like, hey, they're gonna call and said that you need to call so and so, and they're gonna take care of your flights and all that. What? That's paid for?
Wow.
And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So they take care of us doing the work, getting us to and from. But you meet some absolutely exquisite people. I know I word exquisite, but there's some just such incredible people with just phenomenal personalities and hearts. And I had a friend of mine call me, one of my clients I've worked with for 21 years now, called me from the Koi Center last day. He goes, hey, do you know Adamo? Like, yeah, good buddy of mine. He goes, he's speaking right now. Absolutely incredible. Like, I know. And he's a friend. Absolutely. So, and it's changed my life and how I look at things and how I try to achieve what I want to achieve. And there's access that I can give to somebody else and help them out. And I also go to the people that can help me out. And it's given, very honestly and openly and willingly. So it's like that group. That's what some of those groups do. It's a like-minded mindset of trying to be as best you can.
Oh, for sure. That's powerful. And for the rest of the year, if somebody would want to hear you speak or teach a class, do you have anything this year? Anything left this year?
I do. Right now, I'm scheduled for a hands-on course in Colorado. I think it's October 11th at People's Prosthetics in Colorado. That's what I have scheduled right now. I've got a couple we're working on right now as well. I'll schedule that in. I do believe November 2nd, I'm lecturing with Dr. Chian Gibson she's out of Naperville, Chicago, Illinois. We're going to be lecturing together at GC in November 2nd. And then we'll see what happens for the next year. So
that's fantastic.
Love it. That's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we really find the meaning of getting much more out when you give.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
And so I also want to go into this very briefly. You wrote a piece for Dental Town.
I did.
And can you please share? I mean, we are going to be linking the article here on YouTube or Facebook or on the podcast, wherever it is that you're watching or listening, so that you can, our listeners can definitely take advantage of this information because you go into depth. But I want to just for you to give us a short synopsis of this concept of progressive bite matrix technique.
Well, it's one of the hardest things to do is when you start doing full mouth restoration. You start doing the concept of changing one's entire bite scenario and how they chew, how they function, how they look cosmetically, aesthetically. But one of the greatest challenges in that process is maintaining one's bite. So when you get to where the patient's comfortable, then it's called maintaining the bite and getting to where your temporary result is your final result, or where the bite you've created for them becomes a habitual bite and much more comfortable for them. And so it's something I've learned at LBI, and I've done a lot more with it. It's just basically transferring the bite. What you do is you create a Siltec or an impression tray, in-temp impression bite tray you can use, and you hold that patient in that vertical and the BDO, and then you, as the doctor goes and preps the case, he continually relines the case, the bite, at the same time measuring vertical dimensions on the right, left, center, so that your vertical is the exact same. Then it comes back to us. Then we put the bite into the articulator, managing the models and measuring exactly, is it matching what was prior to preparatory? Is it managing exactly the same at prep? And then in the end, is it the exact same in the end when you finally create the final restoration bite? It's normally created to where it's the best bite for them possible, the best bite where they function best, where they are aesthetically the best. Nothing's perfect, but when you change someone's vertical and change their positioning out of malocclusion to a positive occlusion to where they function better, chew better, everything, maintaining that bite is critical, and that's one of the methods I use with all my clients. And it's a lot of times it can fail because the doctors will overlap their bites, and then next thing you know, their vertical starts opening. Like, hey, stop! You got to go back. You got to measure where you're going. Did you measure? No, I forgot. You would have seen it had you measured that you over opened. So you should have taken that off and realigned it again. And it's them in a fast pace. It's them also working with a patient who's difficult, not always easy, or a patient that's sedated, who's asleep the whole time. But with this method, someone that's sedated, it's so easy. You can put this matrix into their mouth, and in all reality, you can hang them upside down, and your vertical doesn't change.
Wow!
So it keeps you in the same position at all times. And so I use that a lot with on my clients. So it works really well.
It's interesting that you said 2 points. You said functionality and aesthetics. You said functionality first. When we had Mr. Bart Cothran from the
awesome man
Laboratory Association, we love that. We love that.
Awesome man, love Bart.
One of the things that he talked about, and he was very adamant about, he was very particular about, was functionality.
Yes.
And it's so refreshing to hear you say this. I find that a lot of newer, and when I say newer, it's younger, the younger crowd, there is a very little understanding on functionality, and the focus, I believe, it sometimes can be turn to aesthetics, but aesthetics, I believe, have their place. But functionality is certainly the number one priority for a health professional, and a dental technician is definitely a health professional.
Yeah, the best result is a marriage between the two. And that's what Bart said is exactly true. It's if you don't have functionality to where they function better, I really don't care what it looks like. It doesn't really matter. And then if you get someone that functions great and you got it right position, it looks like doo-doo, it still looks like crap. And the result's not beneficial. And so I sat in a lecture once. It was a study group, and I was invited as a guest just to participate. And at the end, the result of 2 hours of watching this video and evaluating the case, I looked at it, I was like, can I say something? I know I'm a guest here, but can I say something? And they said, well, please do. And I said, if I was that patient, I went 2 years doing this entire process we just did. It looks like it functions pretty decent. Nothing terrible. I'd be pissed off. I'd be very disappointed because it was 5 different colors, and we still had the roller coaster effect, and it could have been altered a lot. It could have been managed a lot simpler ways to where you have a result where it's the aesthetic results are just as good and marriage with the functionality of the final result. And that when you get them both together, that's a phenomenal marriage and a great result.
Functionality and aesthetics. Ladies and gentlemen, You've heard it from Mr. Quint Whipple, also known as the Whip.
No problem there.
So how can our followers follow you? How can they follow you on Instagram, Facebook? Where is it? What's your hashtag? What's your username?
I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook under Phoenician Dental Studio. Also under my personal, Quint Whipple, J Quint Whipple, CDT on there. I'm on Damaged Goods all the time. I'm on GC. I'm on Serona all the time. Our website got hacked. We're in the process of redoing it.
Oh.
So my son is actually working on a personal email right now. It should be probably up and going about next week or so. It's the one he's running for just me, more or less. It's kind of interesting, but he's loving doing that process. So I'm always at AACD and whatnot. So at Quint at PhoenicianDental.com is my email, and I'm always available at that. So.
Quint, we really appreciate you coming out, sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your background, and giving to the community as you always do. And we look forward to meeting you in person sooner than later.
Absolutely. It's been my honor, my privilege. Thanks for letting me come on board and be part of your podcast. Love that. Absolutely great. Love to be back to do it again with you.
Thank you so much, Quint, and we will be seeing you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. J Quint Whipple once again. See you soon.
Thank you much.